and we are here for episode 3. I'm going to quickly let my players introduce themselves before we go into this game. First, we have Evelyn.
Hi, my name is Evelyn. I run the channel Lilycraft Productions, which has only the most quality of content right now. And I am playing Weiss, the unscrupulous doctor, and I really love them.
Next, we have Mason.
I'm Mason, and I'm playing our Forgeborn assassin called N42635.
Perfect. Next, we have Connor.
Hey, I'm playing Connor. I'm playing Connor. I am Connor. I'm playing Ushime, the Mancer from the now shattered world of Verloren.
And last but not least, Kenya.
Well, hello. I'm playing Jynx, our friendly little spunky Voidborn mechanist. All the gadgets and all the sass.
Hella sass, I tell ya. So we last left our party. It was night in New Sardis. It was actually really early morning, to be honest. These guys had been up pretty much all night, as you are wont to do. But we've left them. Each of them have gone on their separate ways to spend the evening. After a much excitement of the night before, where New Sardis had broken out in some sort of riots going on and much destruction and damage, Jynx is at the tattoo parlor spending the night. Weiss is on the roof somewhere. Ushime has gone back to his apartment, and N is staking out the place. So the rest of the night passes pretty much uneventfully for each of you. You get the much needed rest before waking up to sunlight streaming into the various places that you are. For Weiss and N, that is pretty much all around you. For Ushime, that is through the cracks of your shuttered window. And Jynx, well, it's still pitch black where you're at. What is everyone doing in the morning?
And busy making sure her rifle's upkeeped properly and cleaned. You don't want your rifle to go bad when you're trying to shoot someone.
Jynx is kind of just, getting up real slow and kind of lazy. Dog probably wanders through and flicks a light on and blinds her a little bit. And you're sweet, but you got to get out, honey. And, wake up, and I'd like to try to hook that whisper link up to the machine again and see if I can get into it, because she was too tired to do it last time. So
absolutely, you're checking that. Remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were checking the activated vial that you found. Was that the one?
No, I thought, wasn't I hooking her whisper link?
That's right,
her whisper link up to the techie stuff he has, because he doesn't really have the
Yes.
sciencey tech. He has the communication-y tech.
That is correct. Okay, give me that techie roll.
One techie roll incoming. Oh, she feels much better after a good night's sleep. Total of 19.
Perfect. Okay, so you are able this time to hack into her whisper link and open it up. But you also know that you are only at her surface level. of her whisper link. And you can tell this not only by the kind of mundane content that she has on there,
Mhm.
but also that there are things that normally you would expect to see that you are not seeing. So you know you're in, but you're not all the way in. But that's wording.
I guess what she'd look for probably at a surface level is she's kind of interested in trying to figure out, since we're suspicious of the guys that were with her, like, is there some sort of like communications record where maybe she was talking to one bodyguard company and then all of a sudden a phone switched or something? Anything that kind of leads towards something suspicious about sort of any communication that has to do with like a security team.
Yeah, so you can definitely bring up her calendar. She's got all that information on there, so all of the dates of her last concerts, etc. There's a lot of information. Apparently, she's very busy, very popular. And you look at typically, and this is kind of odd for you. It raises a little bit of concern. She doesn't actually have a security team. She tends to have the owners of the place set it up for her.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I guess if that's what I can get, that's what I can get. Yeah. She'll just work on that and then probably she'll probably go into the back area where there's maybe a little kitchenette and scrounge herself up some food courtesy of her buddy.
Perfect. Weiss or Ushime?
I imagine Weiss is has done a little bit of maintenance on their necrographed arm. And the other thing that I think they're going to try to do is in the early hours of the morning, when maybe shops have started to open up, but maybe not too many people have gotten out yet, if that's possible. I would like to go try to find a place where I could buy some ammunition for this beautiful new short scattergun that I got.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, you're definitely in the district where this stuff would be found. It's not the most savory of places. So I would say there's definitely a shop, someplace that you can find. It probably will be closer to like 10 or 11 before this place opens, because this is an area where it's open later at night, and so it's not open so much early in the morning.
Well, in that case, I'm just going to make note of the place and then probably circle around back to the tattoo parlor to meet up with the rest of the group.
Okay. Perfect. Ushime, are you doing anything this morning?
Ushimi remembers the last evening, having a strange message from someone wanting to seek an audience with Ushimi. I guess in the inverse, have Ushimi seek an audience of. And in the morning, we'll, I believe, what did they say it was by, was it early afternoon that they requested Yushimi's presence, or is it?
Yeah, it would be 2 p.m.
Okay. Ushimi would be trying his best to, I guess, just notify everyone of this, perhaps even using whisper links. Everyone would get like a little notification throughout their morning of, we've been seeking an audience, we've been sought out by so and so, whose name I cannot remember, and to all meet up at a certain place. Probably the actual the tower itself, for a time slightly before 2 p.m.
So how do each of you react when you get this message from Ushimi?
Probably just
Mhm.
very business as usual. I just kind of used to getting weird. I'm used to like working on a dime, going to different places. So
Yep, I'm at the shop. You guys should come over here. I got some interesting information for you. I've been poking around in places.
And probably you wouldn't see react at all to the message on the whisper link. Just finish packing up her bedroll and then get ready to watch and see where Ushime walks to.
And it's while you're packing up your gear and when your whisper link chimes.
Yushimi's or N's?
Did I say Ushime? N's whisper link chimes.
Oh, okay. I look at it.
Do you answer?
Oh, is it a call or a message? Like a message?
It's a call, like it's an incoming link.
Do I recognize the number, or however it is in whisper links?
No, it's definitely encrypted. There is no way
Then
to.
yes.
As soon as you answer, you can tell that whatever connection you have, there is a lot of, I want to say static for lack of a better word, static and garble. So the message kind of cuts in and out. But you know that this is your handler. I don't know if you gave me the name of.
Omen.
Pardon me?
It's Omen.
Yeah, not actually Omen, but the one that he gets or she gets or whoever they get to call you when they're busy.
I don't think that N even knows their name, actually.
Okay, so you recognize the voice on the other end, and maybe the face. So you can see, like it's grainy and it's coming in pieces, but you can tell that this is the person that would normally contact you when Omen is busy. Good to see you, Ed. I take it you're well.
Hello again. Couldn't get contact with you guys last night.
That was on purpose. The link you were calling from was not secure, so we did not deem it prudent to answer.
Sounds good to me.
Was there something you needed?
Just to see if you had any more information for me.
And you can see it when she's kind of talking to you. She's also being distracted and she's kind of looking over her shoulder. She'll say a couple of things to somebody and then she'll go back and she's like typing madly. And then, she, so it's like she's talking to you, but it's a little bit disjointed. Like you don't have her full attention, even though she's the one who called you. Your mission going all right?
So far. Well, part of it. Haven't asked about the other thing yet, but I'll get to that.
Any news to report?
There was an attack on some singer person and people stole her.
Could you repeat that, please? And you can tell you've now got her attention a little bit.
The singer that you guys sent me, well, you sent me to meet with Ushime, and we were meeting at a bar or something, and the singer, there was a bomb, the singer got captured.
The sound goes off on her end, and you can see her talking to somebody on the other side. Time passes a little bit. And then she comes back on. Thank you for the news. And you are on your own for your mission until we can get this resolved. By this, I mean the fuck up in New Sardis that's happening right now.
You would notice En's eyes perk up a little bit at the mention, and then she shakes her head and goes, "Yep, I'll figure things out."
Well, it's good to finally get you back. We have many operatives that have not been so lucky.
Yeah.
We'll get in touch with you again soon. Expect a package. It will find you.
Okay.
And then she clicks off.
Okay. And now I'm watching for Ushime. Even though I was technically watching while talking.
Shimmy, what are you doing after you've told them about the call? Are you hanging out in your apartment? Or are you planning to do something?
Ushime is almost a bit lost in this massive city of Thorchestra. The prospect of all these bustling city folk kind of almost deters him from wanting to leave his apartment to brave that strange jungle. But he knows and remembers he's here for a reason. And he finds it odd, almost prophetic, that this Kerrigan Raid CEO would contact him, a seemingly nobody. But perhaps this is a sign, perhaps this is something that is all part of the grand scheme of things that's to happen, that's soon to play out. He would, I think, spend his morning do the equivalent of watching the news, trying to figure out what happened last night with the security reports of that explosion, the bombing, the location of that pop star, anything that came of that. Whether this is just like walking through the streets, looking at the tabloids that appear, or doing any kind of actual like cyber research, so to speak, on any kind of news sources like that. I think that's how he spent his morning, wondering what became of that lead that he was given.
Yeah, so you were watching the news, and as you suspected, starting probably mid-morning, there are nothing but reports about what happened in New Sardis. It's like everywhere, all over the Whisperlinks. They basically call it riots in the Vesper district, gang war erupts, and so on, so on. So there's a lot of sensationalism, a lot of graphic pictures of the aftermath of the dead in the streets and of the buildings and the destruction, but not actually a lot of like hard detail about what was going on, as if like no one really knows. But they're definitely calling it some sort of gang war, some sort of riot was happening. There is no mention whatsoever of the pop star, the Lorien Vile DJ. Nothing.
And this perplexes Ushime a bit. How could someone of such a note not have any kind of sign of them passing, or not passing in the sense of dying, but like moving from place to place? But if he can't get anything further from that, I think he'll spend his research time, I guess, trying to figure out who and what this Kerrigan Rald, is all about.
Okay, give me a I need to find the skills, because what would that be?
Lore, I guess?
Yeah, I guess that's the closest, right?
Yeah.
Lore.
Or diplomacy if I'm actually asking people that. If I'm
Lore.
just looking through information and stuff. Then it'll be lore probably.
Yeah, do
I'm
lore.
not sure if there's an internet in this world, but if there is, yeah.
There's kind of the equivalent. It'll make our internet look like
Yeah, the Lorium net.
yeah, exactly, Lorium net, and it would make ours internet look like, I don't know, like a local network. There's everything on it. It's like worlds are connected. So I don't know if you have something about nobility of your character.
I definitely have nobility, but I looked it up last session. It's the inverse of what the CEO did for me. I can request an audience with other nobles if they're in good standing with my nobles, but not the other way.
Okay. So it has nothing to do with whether you're researching them or not.
Yeah.
Okay. So then just make me a lore check.
Yep. It's going to be a total of 9.
Yeah, you are not finding anything on this Kerrigan-Rold. You do see one mention of the Megara group in passing, but your research skills in this are sorely lacking. You think you probably need Jynx.
The Megara group, you saying is what Kerrigan-Rold leads?
Yeah,
Okay,
he's the owner and CEO of.
Cool. Kind of disappointed at just the obscurity of this figure, who must be massive, but also very adept at covering their own tracks, especially in a world like this. I think that's when Ushime's would kind of, I guess, give up in a sense, feeling somewhat satisfied that he's exhausted all of his options, and just begin to prepare whatever he needs to do for the actual meeting itself with this Kerrigan-Rold, such as, like making sure that he doesn't stink and stuff like that. A little bit of hygiene.
So are you going back to the tattoo parlor to meet them, or you are meeting them separately? I'm sorry, miss.
So I had sent the message to meet them directly at the Megara group building.
Yeah.
And so that's where Ushime will be meeting them.
Okay.
Unless was there a whisper response to meet at the tattoo place first?
I think, yeah, Jynx had mentioned when she had got your message that.
Oh, perfect. Okay, yeah. If that's the case, then yeah, Ushime will go to this tattoo parlor place. A little bit skeptical of why his authority in this issue is being usurped, but then he remembers that it's Jynx. This is why he was told to hire Jynx for all of her good reasons. Just trust her in the end, and goes along with it.
So I imagine at some point before noon, Ushime would head out. And you see Ushime leave his apartment, and I assume you are following him.
Mm-hmm. You want me to roll a stealth?
Not unless Ushime is actively looking for somebody following him.
Okay.
Are you, Ushime?
Not particularly, unless I have good reason to think that I am.
So you're fine, because you're also up. I believe you were up on the rooftops anyway. So yeah, he's probably not even aware. Weiss, if you would like, that store would now be open. If you wanted to go purchase said goods.
Yes, I would. I'd like to make a quick stop there before meeting up with the group, I think.
Yep, I'll go right ahead. Ammo. Let us find the ammo. I think it's weapons.
5 glint each.
Thank you for finding it.
That's as per pulsar cartridge, which is not the same thing as ammo, because the cartridge is worth multiple rounds.
But he's just got a scat.
Got a scatter gun.
All guns use the pulsar cartridges. It's just the reload is weird.
Yeah, exactly. So it would be the same. It would be 5 glint, because then you just have basically get to fire this thing until you roll on your case, a short scatter gun, a 1 or a 2, in which case it needs another cartridge.
Okay, it's just a whole cartridge. Okay.
Yeah. A cartridge is worth a large number of rounds, an abstract number of rounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just basically energy, and it shoots out.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I think I
eventually.
had actually. Now that I think about it, I think I had, because I got this scattergun off of just someone who was holding it. I think I kind of lifted it off of, actually, well, right in front of her. I lifted it off of N, who was holding it, and I don't know if I picked up a. I think I still am going to go and pick up a cartridge, but I don't know if I had already picked one up. I guess if I hadn't, let's just I hadn't. Let's just rule it that way.
Here's a good reason why you probably want to buy lots of cartridges. To use the spray property of the scattergun, you use the whole cartridge for that action to fire in a big burst. So maybe there is actually you get a few of those.
That's fine for you, Mister. I work for nobility. But
Oh, sorry, you don't have hundreds of glint in your pocket?
no, I've only got what I was paid in advance. So I'm going to go, and I think I'm going to just very politely, with whatever unscrupulous person that's missing a jaw or whatever is running this shady gun shop, I'm going to get 2 cartridges.
Perfect. Yeah. No questions are asked. They just kind of look at you, pass them over, take your money. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. And I go.
Just kind of a grunt in response. Kind of like, yeah, whatever. My day-to-day basis. Jynx, they start trickling in the rest of your, first it's, I would assume probably Weiss first. And then eventually Ushime arrives. And do you arrive before Ushime, knowing where he's going once you figured that out, or do you wait until he's in before coming in?
Nope, I make sure he gets in before I go in.
Okay. So they eventually all arrive, Jynx.
Okay. Jynx is sitting in the room. She's kind of like perched up on top of the counter, like a really long looking yellow skin, green hair gargoyle type. She's just sitting up there as they walk in, and she's got a cup of coffee and she's drinking it. And as soon as the last one of them rolls in, every time one of them walks in, she kind of goes shh, shh, and does this like shh, 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 so nobody will speak. And then once the last person walks in, she's like, "Oh, okay, here you go, guys." And then she'll like offer coffee cups to everybody of whatever warm beverages. Popular. And she'll go over to the machine that she used to link into the Whisper Tech and the Whisper Link, and she'll pull up on the screen the calendar and the communication records. So reason I needed you here is she's busy, man. Look at this. I'm like, no, it's too much. Can't. It's too much running around. I got too much shit to do to. But the important part here, though, is if you take a look right here and here and here, and she'll just start pointing at all these things on the screen that are kind of spinning by, almost in a matrix-like form, and she has no security guards, guys. Like none. She never uses a security team. She lets the owners of the venues organize security for her. So those guys she was with that drug her backstage, she didn't know them from some frickin' Joe on the street corner.
And not hiring guards is how you get yourself in trouble.
Well, this certainly bodes much worse than what we'd initially anticipated. Although
Yeah, but okay, guys, let's go to the next step.
I
Following
told you
me?
that she was kidnapped already.
I
I told you
know,
that at the beginning.
I know. We know that. But the next step past this, shit. I mean,
We were
this
going
is
to
why
go
you
to.
shoot things then. If she always lets the venue set up her security,
We go
then
shoot up the venue.
we need to figure out how the venue's connected to those symbols we're seeing all over the place
Or we
and
find.
do more digging on that.
Or we follow the symbols and see where they lead us.
That's true. But I'm just saying that the venue, not necessarily maybe innocent in this. We might have missed something back there.
This is also true. Do you think we should split up and search for clues? Or should we stick as a group?
Well, it's a lot harder to protect people if they're not near me.
That's true, but it's also hard to cover a lot of ground when we're all stuck together. And it's hard to ask questions when it's an entire 4-person group looking for unscrupulous information.
Ushi's got someplace for us to be though, so
And I was about to point that out too. So.
yeah, let's just go do what Ushi wants to do. I just wanted you here so I could screen, see.
That's helpful, although we did also have that contact of mine that I was hoping to see about the remains of the still living, hopefully.
The fleshy bits.
Yes.
Yep, we can't forget our fleshy bits.
Do you have as I've said, I do have a friend that can help us with this. However, it's a little bit far away, and that's why I am offering myself to be able to go and meet him on my own, and then rejoin in a few hours.
Jynx will put her mug down on the countertop and walk over to Weiss and sling an arm around Weiss and Doc, you don't get to go look at fishy bits without me. That's just too much fun. All the fleshy bits.
I'd appreciate if you didn't touch my shoulder like that. It's very sensitive.
She'll kind of back off a little bit and then take a finger and kind of hold it out and start going, can I touch you? And she won't actually touch Weiss. She'll just get really, really close to him.
Weiss stares with their weird eyes and kind of invites you to try to touch and to see what happens.
Don't worry, I won't. I wouldn't want you to get all locked up again and, you know.
Well, then I think I'm going to go. If you wish to follow me, you may do so. Although I am not responsible for what happens to you, should my friend not be very fond of you.
He loves me. Ushi, do you need all of us, or can we split off and go do this?
It would be preferable, to me at least, if we all had gone off and split off and doing our own things for this time, seeing as we all have unique skills and this task of ours, requires different disciplines. However, this Kerrigan, Mr. Kerrigan, has requested all of us to be present during this, which confused me for a moment and still perplexes me to this day. So unfortunately, no. We will all be going together. I'm sorry if you have any chores or errands to do. They must wait till perhaps tomorrow or even later this evening.
Looks like the fleshy bits are going on ice, Weiss.
And was there great urgency to this Mr. Rawld's request?
There was. We have a strict time, and he kind of like looks at the time, and it's probably like within 40 minutes or something, because we've been standing around chatting with each other. It's in 40 minutes.
Flesh doesn't last forever. And I start packing up and getting ready to go.
I wish to not make an enemy of these oligarchs here at the orchestra. If their business is swift, then we will get to yours. Because I do also wish to see that string come to its end. To see where it leads. It perplexes me still. Perhaps just as much as you, Weiss.
Very wise, of course, very wise. And as I'm kind of putting my stuff away, you can maybe hear me chuckle under my breath. Staying out of the wrath of the oligarchs.
That being said, we get to go.
I'm down. Let's go.
Right.
She'll kind of just brush her hands on her legs and make sure the machine's turned off that she was using to hack the Whisper Link and head out. Dog, we're taking off now. Thanks for the couch.
Sorry, I'm trying to do something and failing miserably in the time I'm trying to do.
No problem. Question
kidding.
for you out of character while you're doing that.
Sure.
Is the place we're going for Ushime, is it like kind of in the same direction of where Weiss wants to go offhand? Or is it in a completely opposite direction?
I would say that while not completely opposite, it is definitely not in the same direction.
Okay.
You're heading
know.
more into a more, what's the word I want to look for? Affluent
Okay.
neighborhood. Yeah. So there we go. Now we can find it.
So, okay. But not like completely opposite like we were last night when we went to my stuff, right?
That is correct. Not completely
Okay.
opposite. Yeah, you're heading into more the office district to go to the Megara group, whereas Weiss's contact is still kind of in the a seedier neighborhood. Almost kind of envision like a triangle between the three places. Like you're going over here, his contact is going to be over there. So it's not quite on the way, but a little bit on the way. And as you approach, I'm assuming you should be that you're getting a car, or are you guys taking public transportation again?
Probably, if I can speak, probably public.
All right. So you arrive at a much, it doesn't look, you can't see the bottom of this, but a much cleaner area of town. The buildings are glass and metal and tall and sparkly, if you will. Definitely the money place. And you get off out of the hover bus, if you will, and you're walking the last few blocks towards the Megara Group's building. And the people you pass by are all kind of in their own world. They've got little like glass lenses that are over their eyes, and they're all talking on their own, whisper links, and nobody's really paying attention to anybody else, all having their own conversations while they're bustling to the next spot. So they don't pay any mind. The ones that do maybe see you kind of give you the look like, what are you doing here? You guys look completely out of place, but you find yourself eventually in front of the Megara Group building. And as you go in, you can see there's quite the security facility. You're met by some guards who request, I'll say sternly, but also civilly, to remove all your weapons and place them in the bin.
I empty my entire bag of weaponry that we've collected over this day. I hand them the rifle. You notice that N does not want to let go of the rifle, but then thinks about it and goes, okay, here you go. And she reaches for a dagger, but then she does not hand the dagger over. It's still strapped across her chest.
I'm sorry, you cannot go in there with that.
It's not. And I'll show him it's broken.
Does it have a blade at all?
No. It's literally just a handle right now.
It's just a handle. Does it still have it like its sheath?
Yeah, it's in the sheath, but there's
Okay.
no blade attached.
So he asks for the sheath.
She'll
And
hand it over.
Yeah, he checks it out, makes sure there is no hidden blade inside of it, and then seeing that it's just a handle, he looks at it. He tries to, like, click buttons or whatever, trying to see if there's like some sort of hidden mechanism in it. When he finds nothing like that, he does hand you back the empty haft and gives it to you. What are the rest of you doing as
There's kind of a gleeful mirth in Weiss as they pass off their light pistol and scattergun almost like joyously. Like, sure, you can take these. I don't mind. Here, even take the ammo. So, because Weiss has weapons that people can't take away from them.
Jynx will put all of her. Yeah, Jynx will just put all of her weapons out there. She's gonna pretend that she's upset about it, but she's just gonna hand them over.
And Ushime, do you have any?
Yeah, Ushime hands a small slip knife, a small little dagger, and a small little repeater pulser that he has as his two sidearms. But he is wearing these kind of hefty-looking gauntlets that go all the way up to his elbows. I don't think that these things count as weapons to this bouncer. But he just hands over the pulser and the knife. Those are like commonly what these bouncers probably think of as weapons.
Yeah. And in return for all of your weapons, you can see that they're put into like four separate little bins, locked, set into like a storage facility, and you're each given your appropriate token to reclaim it afterwards. And then you are ushered, ushered is not the wrong word, allowed into the building proper. But as you go through, you realize you're going through a scanner of some sort. And there is a lady on the other side at a desk, and she is watching a screen. Weiss, you go first through. And another guard on the other side kind of looks at the woman. She just gives a little nod, and he, proceeds, lets you through. And you go through next. Again.
Slightly.
And are you hiding anything at this point if you've actually given up everything?
I've given up everything except my mechanical arm. Perfect.
And N?
I've given up everything.
Yeah, so she does the same, nod and send you through. Ushime, as you go through as well, same thing. Have you given up everything except for your gauntlets? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you get the same curt little nod, and the guard lets you through. Jynx, and you've given up everything as well.
I mean, yes. She has her arc tool, would they try to take that from her?
No.
They wouldn't? Okay. Then yeah, I give up everything.
So yeah, however, when you go through, there's no nod. A little kind of a beeping sound happens from her terminal. She looks up at you. She looks to the guy and she just kind of gives the nod, and he approaches you. I'm sorry, miss, you must come with me. We need to do
I gotta go with him. He's got a meeting with somebody. I've been requested.
not until you come with me. There was something wrong with your scan.
Go ahead, Jynx. I'm sure everything will be fine. Just go with the nice man. We'll catch up with you later.
Fleshy bits. And she'll just turn and kind of follow the nice man.
So he takes you not very far. I'm into this almost like a booth. If you're claustrophobic, this might set it off a little bit, but you are ushered into this booth. It's metal lined booth. Inside is kind of sparse, and you are told to stand there, hands raised above your head, and he closes the door behind you. So now you're encased in this, for a split second, dark room, little box. Then the lights kind of come on and there's a buzzing sound as some sort of marker swings around you. And you can tell that this is a full body scan. This is, I think maybe the last time you ever went through a procedure like this was coming back from the drift market one time, when something set it off. You're not sure why. But again, you had to go through there as well. Eventually, what seems like eternity, it probably is only like 15 seconds. It stops scanning you. The door opens and you are let out. The guard just kind of, wait one moment, please. And he looks back at the woman at the desk. And she types, you can see her typing, and then she's scanning. And then she just gives a nod, go ahead, and lets you rejoin the other group, the rest of the group, who have been at this point waiting by an elevator.
Can she, the woman that is like doing all the nodding and the approving, is she in like an open area where I can talk to her, or is she behind a closed off space?
She's behind a space, but you could still talk to her. Like, it's not like she can't hear you if you wanted to talk to her.
So Jynx will walk up to the glass and kind of knock on it and be like, you want to tell me what that's about? Because if you wanted a picture, sweetie, I mean.
You had an abnormal scan. We needed to correct this. It is okay.
I've been called worse. Okay, I'm out. Just walk over to the group.
So the rest of you are standing by the banks of elevators when Jynx finally comes up and catches up to you. There's actually a woman there waiting at the elevator bank. Mr. Ushime, you're Mr. Ushime.
That I am.
This way, please. And she nods to you and the three of your group, along with two guards who follow you, and she takes you to an elevator just off to the side of these other elevators. Presses the solitary button, at which the doors open, and you are ushered in with the guards.
Can I make a perception check on how well armed the guards are?
Sure. Yeah, give me a perception check.
That would be a 25? 25.
They are very well armed. They are, I would say they have like state of the art weapons. Way better than any gun that you've seen, even from Omen. Like these are pretty decent weaponry, and you can also see that they're probably covered in some sort of bulletproof armor as well. These guys mean business. They are no nonsense, definitely top.
Wasn't planning on doing anything. I just wanted to know how well armed they are.
Yeah, they're very well armed and they're big. So if you get into the elevator with these guys, the door closes, and just before the doors close, I should say, the woman presses the one button that's inside before she steps back out of the elevator, lets the doors close behind her. And you find yourselves in the extremely fast rising elevator, very smooth. But you could just see the floors zip by. Like, we're not talking like 1, 2, 3, we're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, as you're like rocketing up this building to basically the top floor. Eventually you get there. It's a short ride, about 30 seconds or so. And the door opens. And in front of you is this immaculate foyer. There's a reception desk, and there's a woman sitting behind it. Very plush, ornate chairs, very luxurious kind of carpeting around the place. What do you guys do? The guards are kind of nodding and gesturing that you exit.
So Jynx will be the last one to exit the elevator, and as it's zooming up in this 30-second extremely speedy ride, she's kind of pressed up against the back of the elevator, and as soon as the motion kind of goes up, she just grips the railing that's in there, and she just kind of like, her breathing just kind of starts very like slow, like very rhythmic breathing, and she just grips this bar the whole time this elevator is like shooting clear up. And once it stops, she holds on to that bar until we exit.
I would actually probably leave the elevator first, if no one else does. And I'm going to look around to see how many exits, entrances into this area there are.
And I would follow Ushime. So.
And as far as you can tell, like, there's only this one exit. There does seem to be like a door further in that's probably leads to an office, as best as your guess. But other than that, that's it. Basically, everybody who comes here enters and leaves with this elevator.
Once she steps off, she's gonna kind of, and she lets go, shake her hands out and okay, let's do this. Where are we going, Ushime? Lead us.
Ushime, it's as you are stepping out of the elevator that you are probably the first to feel it. There is, how do I describe, a dampening, almost like your spirit is wading through cotton balls. That part of your being that you know accesses Astra is diminished. You can feel it. You can still feel it there, but it's fuzzy. It's it's hard to feel, like hard to get to, if you know what I mean. What do you do?
Ushime is confused and concerned. Looks behind at those who are following him. Kind of like giving looks to share a bit of reassuredness.
Do you walk up to the reception?
He does, yes.
Yeah. As you approach, the woman behind the desk eventually looks up. Ushime, I assume.
Yes.
Have a seat. He will be with you in a moment. And she
He'll
kind
do
of
so.
points to the chairs that are around there. And as you guys are sitting there, I'm assuming you're all kind of sitting, it maybe ends pacing, I'm not sure. But you all can start to feel what I described to you, Shemi, just not nearly as, it's not as obvious to you. But you also feel that dampening of your spirit.
If there is a kind of coat rack, I think Weiss would take off their coat and just hang it up.
Okay, yeah.
Just sort of a heavy shirt and pants that they're wearing underneath.
And actually, for the first time that the rest of you have seen, is going to pull off her cloak's hood. She's worn her cloak's hood the entire time. And you'll actually see her face for once. She has blue skin, but you did not know. Well, Jynx knew, but
You can describe her to us.
might help if I unmute. So, what you see standing before you is this blue metal human. I think they're humanoid. Yeah, they're humanoid. And she has a tattoo of a wolf on her face. It's made out of white and silver paint, but it looks tribal. And you can see that she has little feather earrings in her hair and in her ears. But otherwise, you can't see much of her actual mouth because she has a mask on, a little cloth mask.
Perfect. So as you guys are waiting, it's about 5-10 minutes. Eventually there's like some sort of like noise. I'm going to say it's like a slight little buzzing sound. And the reception, yes, sir, is what you hear. And then she looks up at you guys and says, "He will see you now." And she indicates the door that's off to her one side. And you can also notice at this point too that the two guards that came up with you are standing on either side of the doors, just waiting. Go on in. He is waiting for you.
I look expectantly to Ushime to go first.
Yeah, and I think one quick breath, one short, sharp breath will leave Ushime's mouth as he stands up and ready to go in.
Muted. As you open the door, you are greeted with, well, what are they greeted with? Jeremy.
My ugly mug. No. You walk in, and I think it's like a really lavishly appointed office suite. You know, you can see the city kind of out the windows that are very large, kind of large picture windows at the back of the office. And you can see it's kind of dominated by a large desk that has an even larger chair behind it. And it's very well appointed. Looks like there's a lot of actual Glancer tablets and things kind of stored on the side. There's a large Glancer screen on the opposite wall that kind of is projecting the local news. And behind the desk, seated in the chair, is a man you might not have expected to see. He's an older gentleman, probably mid-40s or so. It looks like he was born dirt side. And he's got a scar that kind of runs along the diagonal of his face. The eye on that side is milky white, and there's a kind of a red bar tattoo that kind of runs vertically, intersecting his eye. He's got a beard that's closely cropped, but bushier than you might expect on a businessman. And he has a couple of implants that you can see through his shortly cropped hair, another on his forehead on the other side here. He looks up as you all enter, and he stands from behind his desk, buttoning his jacket. Please, come in. Have a seat. Can I get you anything? Something to drink? Perhaps some miasma. Settle you in a little. You're shy. Well,
Jynx will, yeah. I'll
bite.
take whatever you're offering.
Good to hear. He says out the door to his receptionist, I'd like to not be bothered for at least 10 minutes. He kind of shuts the door. He'll go over to like a wet bar area, and he'll start to pour like a drink that glows a similar color to the city outside, this kind of bright purple magenta color. And he'll bring one over to Jynx. Anyone else?
Do you have anything non-alcoholic?
His eyes kind of settle on In's face for just a moment. And there's I think a quizzical expression that kind of crosses underneath his face. Oh, yes, of course. And he kind of turns and goes to a different cabinet and just brings out like some water. And it looks like maybe some kind of fresh fruit that he like squeezes into it, which would probably be pretty rare, I would imagine. And then he'll bring it over to you.
She would nod.
Please, take a seat. We have some business to discuss. That's why I've asked you here. Disciple Ushime? He kind of looks at you.
Ushime. It's my name.
Well, then you're okay. You don't need anything. You're not thirsty.
No, I'm fine, thanks.
Very well. I'm sure you're all very curious to know why I've asked you here.
Quite.
Well, I suppose we might as well get down to the brass tacks of it all. I know that you were present, at least, at all of this business. He kind of motions over towards the Glancer screen on the wall, which kind of is showcasing a lot of the mayhem that unraveled last night. In particular, I think you see a bar, a familiar club called the Hideaway. Well, much as I hate to admit it, I'm somewhat connected to this club myself. And I need you to do something for me. You see, he kind of like takes this drink that he's finished fixing himself and like stares into it for a moment. and then kind of starts to drain the glass in kind of one fell swoop, and then sets the glass down. That club is owned by my son. And I'm afraid that he must have gotten himself into a little bit of trouble.
Your son has a name?
He does. His name is Savrenwald.
Ushime nods.
Well, to put it frankly, I'd like you to find out where he is, what he's gotten himself into. And I'd like it to be done quickly and quietly.
And why
And
us?
if at all possible, I'd rather not be connected to any of it. Why you?
Yes, why us? Why me of all people? A stranger to these parts.
My usual people for this kind of thing have been out of touch since the latest hiccup. The pulse that happened 4 days ago now. So, since I saw that you were involved in what was going on in the first place, I figured you seemed a capable sort. Why not ask you?
And Ushime nods, and almost like does a little bit of a bow, which presents his foreignness to this moon. It's probably some kind of like Thorkestrian greeting, rather than a what's this place called? Crap, I'm blanking on it.
We are on Tharkestra.
Oh crap! No, what am I from then?
Forlorn.
Forlorn. Thank you. Oh my god, the names. So bad with names. Yeah, some kind of like Forlorn affirmative rather than a Thorkestrian one. Very well. You are then our sponsor, our employer.
Nothing of the sort. Like I said, I'd like my name to not be attached at all. I can pay you, of course, but you don't know me.
An employer in all but name. Can he? Usually taps himself on the nose.
Indeed. I know that you all had some kind of business with this Void Shadow person, and I'm not certain of it, but I think my son might know where she's at. Maybe what happened, who took her.
I would like to offer a trade then.
I'm in the business of trades.
We will do this task for you. But I have a certain goal here on this moon. I have some questions. Some information that need answering. And I imagine that you, the great Kerrigan Rald, would know best.
He kind of thinks about this for like a long moment. Well, a lot of that's going to depend on what information you're after. You see, not all information is the same value.
Of course, of course.
I mean, like, I'm not a parent, so, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, I figure information about your son's probably pretty pricey, right? Just kind of take a little sip of her drink.
You overestimate the connection that I have with this son of mine.
Well, right, but whether you like him or not, I don't give a shit. The point is if he's doing something bad and gets tied back to you, that information becomes more valuable. Something you don't want known. I'm just saying. But I'm not a parent, so what do I know?
Apparently blackmail is what you know.
Oh, no. I am establishing fair market value of information. Very different than blackmail.
I see. I see.
Blackmail's
Well,
malicious.
let's see how well you do. How much your worth ends up on the scale of things. Then maybe I'll answer a few questions for the disciple.
Sounds like a plan. So
And you can anyone who is more streetwise versed than Ushime would notice that Ushime seems completely content with this, even though it's the obvious um, like being paid after the job rather than being paid before the job or whatever. It's a very bad deal for us on our end. But Ushime is like, you know what, I got what I wanted, right? We'll do a task and Ushime will get one and a half steps closer to his overarching goal. So he seems content with this exchange. And I think anyone probably noticed that he's like ready to like accept it or do the O thing or whatever. Unless anyone wants to step in to stop Ushime
I just
from.
want to make sure I'm clear on what you want us to do. You want us to find your son, right? Not make sure he's alive or dead. What do you want us to do exactly?
I'd like you to track him down, find out what he's gotten himself into. If there are any ties that connect him and his business with the Hideaway to myself or to the Megara Group, then sever those ties by whatever means necessary.
Oh, you definitely see N's eyes light up when you said whatever means necessary. Okay.
I kind of, if I may have a moment with the disciple, please, Mr. Rald.
Weiss, before you guys go talk, give me the fleshy bits. Give me the fleshy bits. I want to see if he knows what they are.
I ignore Jynx and I go over and I kind of pull Ushime to my side, and I do my best to kind of show off the fact that I also have some sort of necrotech, and I'm almost just like really trying to like, you guys can't take this from me. Like, you guys can't do anything to this, even though that's probably not true. And I kind of pull Ushime aside and I just say, now, I realize that perhaps this is your first time in these sorts of deals and coordinating with people like Mr. Rald and Miss Jynx and myself. And I offer you this because you are my charge. And should anything happen to you, then I am lost.
You may speak freely, Weiss.
I think that these terms are a little bit unbalanced out of your favor. You see, whether or not Mr. Rald decides to give you the information at the end, we have already completed the task that he wants from us. He is a very powerful individual who's been able to conceal his identity from yourself and from many other people. I don't imagine someone that has to hide that is as generous.
So what do you suggest to them?
I suggest you ask for insurance beforehand, before the job is complete. Not the full thing, of course, that's impolite, but just something small. Perhaps a piece of that information that you are looking for.
Since this was your idea, Weiss, is there anything that you would wish to ask of Kerrigan as your insurance? And he kind of says this a bit in a hushed tone again, like just to you, not too pronouncedly.
I just kind of look at and I say, we are here because you said that this was imperative. I just want to go and talk to my friend, my contact, who I know can help us find this missing void shatter.
I got a 24 for stealth to grab the fleshy bit out of your bag.
I have a passive perception of 9.
We both have a 9, yeah. So
Yeah.
we're fixated on the conversation with each other. You know, you could be like just standing on our heads; we wouldn't even notice.
Mm-hmm.
And I hand it to Jynx and say, "Here you go."
While they're having their conversation, Jynx is gonna take the fleshy bit that we carved off the guy and show it to our new friend here. And so, have you ever seen this? Or, and then she's gonna, using her arc tool, she's going to make like a 3D image of the second symbol that we have. Because I think that one's on a leg that we're carrying around and much harder to sneaky steal. And, or this, have you seen either of these symbols, tattoos on people? Do you know what these are? And she's going to show them to him. Because these are tied to whatever your son's involved in.
Hold on, I'm asking the DM. Like maybe there's something interesting going on. Or she's very slow at typing no. So I think whenever you present these to him, the only one that seems to have any like register at all on his expression is the first one that you show him on the fleshy bit itself. He kind of looks at it for a second, and you can see the scar on his forehead kind of interrupt the lines furrowing, and says, "This one looks familiar, but I can't tell you what it's for, what it's connected to. It's hard to describe. It's something I've seen recently, but I'll have to look into it."
Okay, sweet. So you have a secure connection so we can get a hold of you whenever we need?
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, and a car would be great. Like just something unmarked, nothing fancy. Just something to kind of get us around the city so we can stop with the public transportation and just be more efficient in our working for you.
Maybe
Blends in.
Maybe I miscalculated with you being a capable group. I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, I mean, just a car, something to cruise around in. And that way you can keep track of where we're at because you could completely trace it.
He kind of looks at you with like this knowing look. As if like, do you really think that I haven't done that already? He says, "I'll give you an advance, 25 glint apiece, so you can prepare yourselves, because whoever it is that took out this hit, they have some pretty high tech. And this was premeditated and planned very carefully. All of the security footage is jammed wherever the culprit's identity would have been picked up by the cameras. And that includes the exterior footage from the building as well. They know what they're doing. You need to be ready. I know this office building might give you the wrong impression, but I spent a quarter of a century clawing my way out of that shithole. I know what waits down there.
Right. So, okay. Yeah, I mean, a secure link, a car, a 35 glint each, that's great. Great deal.
I also didn't get to where I am by not being able to count, darling.
Oh,
So,
I mean, this is the negotiating part that we do, right?
there is no we.
Oh. Okay.
Anne's pretty much given up on this conversation. She doesn't care anymore. She's looking out the window.
Jynx is just gonna kind of smile and like wink at him a little bit as she turns around and finishes her drink off and then walks over to Weiss, who's still talking to Ushime, and oh, Doc, you dropped this, and then hand him the fleshy bit.
Weiss doesn't say anything. Just kind of takes it and looks for a long time, and then just puts it away.
We got a plan, gang? I got us a car and a secure communication and some money. We're still debating that out.
He pulls like a small, I don't remember what the little tiny like memory pads or whatever, the data pads or whatever they are that are called in this setting. He pulls out like a small one of those and he hands it to whoever's closest, probably Ushime. This has my son's home address on it. You can start there.
Thank you.
You would just see my receptionist on your way out. She should be able to sort out the details with you on your blend and maybe some form of transportation.
Is there anything we should be warned about this place? He kind of taps the datapad of the address.
I wouldn't know. I've never been there.
And gives a slight nod. An understanding nod. Thank you. We'll contact you again once this is through.
I look forward to hearing your call. Better be careful.
You as well. Unsure of how to respond to be careful, as if it was almost like a miniature threat. I think we've got what we needed, Ushime says to, I guess perhaps Jynx or even Weiss, as we're on our way out. Ironic because we actually haven't picked up our glint or vehicle from the receptionist yet. He seems just hyper fixated on this trade that he's made. He completely ignores all the aspects of the trade that Jynx has established.
And Weiss just says, "Keep your breath held, Mr. Ushime." And I walk over to the receptionist with, I assume, the rest of the group.
As we're leaving his office and walking out the door, Jynx will just kind of call back over her shoulder. Don't you worry, Calgon. We got your rep in hand. And then she'll walk across the threshold and let me get that door for you. shut the door.
So you guys go to the receptionist. You can see that she's already been in contact with Kerrigan from inside. And as you approach, she just kind of slides 4 piles of 25 glint each. And I want to say keys, but they're not keys. It's more like a little like a round disc with like just a solitary button in it. More like a fob than anything. There's your transportation. You can find it in the carport below. Just pass this to the guy. They'll show you where it is. And we'll see you again. And then she just looks down at her paperwork and ignores you for the rest of the time.
So we have a vehicle and we need to get our weapons back. Got it.
I go and I grab my coat before we leave. And just kind of slip it on. And, all right, well, the daylight is burning. Let us continue forward. And I go back to the elevator.
I got us a ride. Just think about how fast we're gonna get to your friend.
Mm-hmm.
So as we get into the elevator, Jynx is gonna kind of slide against the back of the elevator again. And all this like sassy kind of haggly type street stuff that she was doing, as soon as the elevator starts to move again, she's dead silent, white knuckled, grabbing the bar, and just her breathing is doing that weird, really rhythmic, slow breathing again.
So yeah, you find yourselves back on the main floor after a short period as the numbers fly by, back to the ground floor, and the doors open and you find yourself back in that lobby, that sparse white, very sanitary cleaned lobby where you were originally shunted in. I assume you said you guys go get your guns, so you can
if I may,
sure,
really quickly, as we're in the elevator, there's just kind of, as we're kind of descending down, I kind of roll up my sleeve and kind of look at my metal arm, and just sort of out loud, I just say, it's funny. I remember on the old colony void ship that I grew up on, we used to remove the limbs of those that stole from each other. I was very lucky I knew how to replace mine. And I just kind of give a wink to Jynx.
You would hear me say, yeah, but they have to get caught first.
They get caught often when they announce their theft.
You know, Doc, you might want to check out that that arm you got there, because I mean, it locked up on you at the club. Now you're just randomly dropping stuff on the floor. It's just, you might need some repairs. I can help you out. It's what I do. And she'll point to her arc tool. I mean, give you a little zip zip, you know.
I think I would like that very much, actually. You should remind me when we're done with all of this.
Okay, so you assuming you're passing back the little tokens you got from the security guard, and he takes your 4 tokens and he passes back the 4 bins, which open as they're placed down on the table. You can gather all of your gear. And if one of you flashes him the other token, the one that you received from the receptionist, he tells you that you can get through the entrance. There's like kind of a side door just as you came into this area. There's like a side door that is a stairwell down into the car parkades below. And he just tells you, I think he takes that little token and scans it and tells you that it's on like B5, and then pod 72, which would give you the rough estimate of where approximately to find this said vehicle. And then he passes you back the token, the fob-like thing that you were given. And that is where we're going to take a quick little break. So thank you guys. And we'll be back in 5. And I want to say thank you so much, Jeremy, for being our guest star today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me so far.
That was awesome. Thank you. And we'll see everyone in 5.
Back. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
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 I am back also.
I think Karen said she is done with me, so I'm probably gonna go bounce and watch a movie with my wife.
Well, okay then. Oh, we are not
It's fun.
muted on YouTube.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. Karen didn't put us on a be right back screen, so everybody can see us right now. Jeremy, thank you
After
again for
these
coming.
messages.
Enjoy your movie with your wife.
Right back. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good time.
It was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
Sure, I'll see
always.
you guys again at some point.
And I'm not blackmailing you. Blackmail is
Right.
malicious.
Right. You're an adventurer. You're all malicious.
Thanks. See you, buddy.
All right, everybody. Talk to y'all later.
Bye.
Have a good game.
All right.
And we are back. We're just going to wait a few more minutes to make sure everyone is here before we continue. All right, I think we are all back. Okay. So to continue on, you find yourselves in a stairwell going down. And as you go down, you pass B1, B2, B3. Eventually you get to B4. And as you exit into the parkade, you can see, I guess, like little pods. And they're all numbered. So you can find the number 72 that you are told to go to. Who has the fob?
Jynx grabbed it from her.
Okay.
That's fine.
So Jynx, when you find yourselves in front of pod 72, the proximity of it opens and you see inside, it's not terrible, but it's definitely kind of an older vehicle. It is it's kind of reminiscent of kind of like a dune buggy type-ish car. It is open, but it's a hover vehicle. So there's 4 seats. That's enough for all of you to get in. But it's not sleek or fancy. But it's a vehicle. What do you do?
Jynx is gonna activate all the doors so it opens, or whatever we need to do to get in, and then she's gonna slide in behind the driver's seat. I
So
got
yeah,
this, guys.
as soon as you're like, you go to the fob and you go to like turn it on, to activate the doors, etc., you hear imprinting, 3, 2, 1. Imprint done. And then the car will open at that point, and you have a vehicle.
Is there a seat that faces backwards?
No.
Oh, that's sad.
No, they all face forwards.
Okay. Navigate, Doc. Let's go see your friend.
So I yeah, I get it. I get in the driver's seat and I take us there.
You are not authorized.
Ah,
Oh, yeah. Just me, Doc. Sorry.
I see. Wonderful. But,
I mean,
let's-
until we can get your arm repaired, we wouldn't want you to,
hmm.
something bad to happen while you're driving. We don't need an accident. So I got this for you. Don't worry.
Certainly wouldn't want the only medical professional out of all of us to get hurt.
Exactly. Your
Yes,
safety
very
is
well.
our top concern.
So, let's go. And I navigate us there.
Yeah, it takes a little bit. You find that every time you try to go to tell it something, it's like, you are not authorized, until Jynx says it gives permission to the doctor to have access, and then it allows you to access the navigation and put in the coordinates.
I see.
I hold all the power.
So, after maybe some false starts, and as you get used to the rig, Jynx, you take them out into the traffic of the office district and head towards the destination that Weiss has finally been able to program into the navigation system. Is there anything you guys want to do on the way to Weiss's contact?
I'd be watching the tops of the buildings and making sure we're not driving into an ambush, but otherwise, no.
Is there any convenient way for us to be able to drive past the club?
It would be out of your way, but you could try. And if you want to, that's
If
absolutely
it's
fine.
out of the way, she'll just go to Weiss's thing. It was just if it was on the way, I was gonna slide past it.
Yeah, it would take you probably an extra 15 minutes or so in the traffic to head that way if you wanted. Okay. Anybody else want to do anything? Ushime, Weiss?
Weiss just occasionally keeps glancing over at Jynx every once in a while throughout the drive. But for the most part, just kind of, oh yes, no, here. Oh no, you don't want to go this way, you want to go the other way. Oh
This
no.
meeting with Raould was quite profitous for us. Quite fortuitous. I did not suspect that it had anything to do with our own agency here.
Yes, well, I suppose we got some faster transportation out of it.
It seems now we are known throughout the orchestra. Someone like Raould was able to point us down to the incident itself.
Yes. Hmm.
Well, being known isn't exactly what I like, so that's not good.
Well, being known lets people find you if they have a job for you.
They can contact my guild.
What, you do not appreciate the renown of your skill?
I like being known, but usually the people who know me are dead.
I like people knowing my name, not my face.
It's so pretty. She'll kind of wink back since Weiss has been looking at her so much.
And thank you all for coming with me on this errand of mine.
No problem, Ushi. I'm already 25 glint richer for it.
Weiss is very silent.
Ushi. He kind of like mumbles, staring out the window of the car. Ushi. Just perplexed by this.
Eventually, we approach Weiss's contact. Weiss, describe the building we are seeing. What kind of shop/store is this?
I want to say this is sort of like the Tharkestrian equivalent of a CVS or Walgreens. Just some kind of like it's a drugstore for prescription medications, and so I imagine probably not that big, probably not that enfranchised, but kind of a smaller, low key place. And I imagine it's not a very the integrity of this building probably doesn't make you very confident in buying your prescribed medications from this place either. This is sort of the like if you if you really can't afford the extra 200 glint, but you know, it's got a nice it has a nice kind of and it has the only thing that is even remotely nice about it, and it almost has the opposite effect. It's just this poster with a small I imagine some sort of household pet, cartoonized household pet sort of hanging off of a tree branch, kind of with one of those like hang in there we have, let us grab you or something like that. And just this sort of otherwise innocent looking poster and the framed in the rest of this otherwise kind of rundown drugstore is not a very it almost makes it worse.
Post just shows how seedy the place is. So you guys get out and go inside, and inside we see like not very much. It's a small place. It has some shelving units, etc. They have, you know, all the various little things that you'd find over the counter in a drugstore. You've got there's like acid tablets, there's all sorts of things. You've got little snack foods, you've got some drinks, candy, etc., as well as, you know, these the generic medicines. And then towards the back, there's the counter where you'd actually take and get your prescriptions filled.
So what I would do is I would go along and I'd find a specific kind of ointment for skincare. And I would just pick it up. I'd pick up 2 of the little vials of it. And I'd carry it to the back, to the back of this this deck, and I would just kind of get the attention whoever is at the counter, and I would say, just a small something for the disease of the flesh, which would be the code.
And you'd pass the little package along with the 2 hand creams, ointments.
Yeah.
Yeah. guy behind the counter. He's tattooed, colorful hair, piercings pretty much all over the face. And he just looks at you, looks at the package, nods, grabs it, and disappears into the back slightly. After a few moments, he comes back out and he says, I don't believe we named this contact, did we?
I don't think so. If you want me to come up with a name, though. Or
Yeah, sure.
Let's call him. Let's call him Krav. Here, I'll put it in the. Just like that.
Yeah, so this guy comes back out after a few moments and says, and he kind of just gestures towards where he went. Krav will see you.
Thank you very much. And I would say, I'd just say to the rest of the group, like, I think it's probably best that all of you wait out here.
You got it, Doc. And you're going to see Jynx heading in the direction of the kids' toy aisle. So, and she kind of slides in between two stands of like brightly neon glowing stuffed animals and disappears.
She camouflages into the. Yes. I love it.
Very well, Weiss.
She camouflages right into the kids' aisle.
I promise I'll only be a few moments.
You just hear floating up from the kids' aisle. Yeah, sure. You got it. Whatever.
Weiss shakes their head and goes into the back.
Does N stay outside? Like outside the back?
Actually, N went back out to the car.
Okay, N's back in the car. Okay. So Weiss, you go in the back and you see Krav. What does he look like?
I imagine he is sort of I imagine he's very big. Like kind of just this sort of a very kind of a big midsection, but then sort of these weirdly thin limbs. Sort of it looks very kind of I almost get like have you ever seen Spirited Away? Yes, I imagine almost like a sort of a slightly more human Kamashi the Boiler Man. So maybe not quite all around, but sort of these very long limbs. Another Voidborn, and kind of just these weird proportions, and just wearing like just clothes covering absolutely everything. And the only thing that I imagine they also have a pair of goggles, a large mustache, and the only thing you can kind of see is their chin. Is his chin.
I think it's the sound of you entering the room that causes him to look up and see you. And he's like, oh, it's you.
I promise I won't be here long. I just had a small inquiry.
This is yours? You're doing? And he points to the fleshy. You gave him the fleshy bit, or did you give him the...
I gave him both things. I gave him
the tissue and the fleshy bit.
I gave you the. I gave the. It was the. Well, I gave him. It was the. Well, because I had the. There was the tissue. There was the whole arm, and then there was also the small thing of shatter, presumably void shatters that I collected from a waste basket.
Right.
That was much less graded, and I just said, so these all came from different people, and none of them were my doing in the removal, in their deceased process, but unfortunately we need to have them traced.
You don't give me much here to go from for a full trace. But I can see what I can do. I mean, if
Well,
they're in the system.
At the very least, I need, and I point to the arm and the fleshy bit. I just see, and I just say, at the very least, if you could get the identities of these, I believe that'll be enough to work with.
Yeah, like I said, if they're in the system,
of course,
then I'll be able to get that for you. And this, he kind of quizzically at the tissue. What am I to do with this? Like the soil bit from Void Chatter.
Sure. Well, this has remnants of a young lady that we are currently searching for, who is missing. And I'm not sure how much you need, but if you can also somewhat find if I'm not mistaken, you should still be able to find similar traces of her if they're relatively close, which it certainly would narrow it down a little bit for us.
Not an easy task, but leave this with me here for 24 hours. That's going to be the minimum time it takes to run this analysis.
Of course. I will make it worth your time, brother.
You better.
And as I leave the full 25 glint that I got at the yeah.
Yeah, and as you leave, just before you exit the door, you hear from behind you, "It is good to see you again."
I kind of stop and I turn around and I say, I did see some members of the Ordo. They are here. I don't think they know we are. Stay inside. And then I leave.
Perfect. And those of you in the store, what are you doing? Just hanging out, camouflaging? Doing anything else?
Jynx is wandering around in the kids aisle and then wanders up to the counter and to make a purchase. She's yeah. That's all she's doing.
What you buying?
She's gonna buy an assortment of like lollipops that have like glowing sticks where the lollipop part is, and the lollipop kind of flashes because it's made out of this clear candy, and so it flashes all these different colors as you're sucking on the lollipop, and you can different flavors flash different like colored patterns and stuff. And then she's also buying this really adorable stuffed Argyle beast thing, but it's got like little LEDs coming off of it all over. It's about like this big. It's a little one.
So great. That'll probably come to like a glint or whatever. Ushime, are you doing anything?
Just waiting patiently.
Okay, so eventually, in your wait, Weiss comes back. You've seen Jynx has gone to the counter to pay for something. And now the three of you are back together.
Weiss nods, impressed.
You look impressed, Weiss. What's up?
You paid for everything.
Yeah, I do that.
That's good. Whether or not you're afraid of me, there's more than just me. It's good to know that you're not a complete idiot.
She's just gonna kind of chuckle and walk out the door with a glowing lolly sticking out of her mouth as she like carries her little stuffed creature out with her.
What has Ed been doing in the car this entire time?
Ed's actually been looking at this white leather notebook. There's writing in it that has a bunch of names. But when she notices part of her party coming back, she quickly hides it again.
So I believe your guys' perceptions suck, but you can all give me a perception roll.
Want me to roll stealth on it too?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
15 for Ushime.
Ooh,
Highest roll of the night.
Ushime rolled well.
Good. Doesn't beat a 20, but it's good.
Have I mentioned how cute this stuffed animal is that she's carrying out with her? Adorable.
Yeah, so none of you notice anything. You may see and move, but that's all. You don't know what she was doing. And nothing even triggers concern. So you are back at the vehicle. What are you guys going to do now?
Jynx is gonna hop into the car and she's gonna take her little toy and she's gonna kind of shove it down in the dash, like where the window is, and shove it in there. And she's gonna offer N a lolly, and she's gonna go N, Archer,
Okay.
Archer, N, and point to the stuffed animal. He's our mascot.
Perfect. No thanks to the lolly, though.
And I kind of, when everyone's together, I just kind of announce, all right, so my friend will have results for us in 24 hours. But luckily, they'll be good results. In the meantime, I suppose if we want to do as much as we can with this business that we've picked up from Mr. Rald.
Didn't we get coordinates or something from Mr. Rald?
We did. We got a address, a coordinate thing, yeah.
Yeah, you got a small little data pad that had the address.
You guys want to go there? Or back to the bar?
Let's head to his kid's place. Let's figure out what's going on. She'll offer lollies to Weiss and Ushime too.
What is this?
It's candy. Just put it in your mouth.
A confection?
Yes, it's delicious.
Oh, God, that's terribly sweet.
That's what makes it great.
He's like gagging on this. He's like, oh, this is rancid.
You get used to it.
Are my teeth falling out of their sockets?
Now you're just being dramatic.
My eyes burn from this.
Why are you sticking it in your eyes?
That's the thing, I'm not.
I don't know what you're doing wrong, honey.
You eat this stuff?
Gives you a nice burst of energy.
Weiss pulls out a little canister at some point, kind of after refusing the lollipop that you can see there has writing on it that just says misto meal on it. And just kind of holds it close to the mask, cracks it, and just inhales. And then crushes the can with his mechanical arm and just puts it away because he does not litter.
That's awesome. I love that. Miss O'Meal. It's brilliant. So you guys are traveling towards what turns out to be an extremely nice section of town, of the city. Like, this is, as you put the blocks and miles behind you, the buildings get less run down, they get fancier, they start to get more spacious and spread out a bit, which is kind of odd on this moon, which is really one giant megapolis. Like, the cities run into each other and there's really not a lot of room, but you are finding yourselves in a section of the city where you see grass, you see trees. The houses are, like the apartment buildings and stuff are like 10 stories. They're not apartments on top of apartments on top of apartments. There's room. How do you feel when you actually see this? Because this is probably, I'm assuming, one of the first times any of you have seen this kind of landscape. Well, maybe not Ushime, but what's going through your heads?
Lots of places to have an ambush here.
Jinx's eyes are just kind of flitting around, like she's kind of casing around, like looking for things that might need a home type of a situation, and just kind of peeking around and taking a gauge on what the possible value of anything she might come across is, with a bright glowing lolly in her mouth.
Last time Weiss ever saw something this spacious was when he was looking out a porthole of his childhood colony ship and out into the void of space, and looking at seeing Bastion in the distance and the rings, and just thinking, whoa, so much space out there and all of it deadly.
You travel further into this area and the homes become nicer and more opulent. Nothing like what we would have here, because there's still not that much space, but there are yards. Like, these houses have yards, which is just unheard of in Tharkestra, except for the very rich. And it's, as you're driving, Ushime, you get a whisper link call comes in. A link starts to buzz.
He'll let it play.
And as soon as you accept the link, you can see Ioris's face. And it is covered in worry and distress. He's like, Ushime, Are you okay?
I'm fine.
It's all over the links. It's everywhere. The riots in Vesper District and gang wars and the hideaways in the Vesper District. Please tell me that wasn't you. Please tell me you had nothing to do with this. Ushime?
I was there for that. But it was not my hand that did it, if that's what you're insinuating.
But you were there. Are you okay? Is... And he kind of like... She okay?
We're trying to find her.
What do you mean you're trying to find her? What does that mean? Was she not there? Did she... What?
She was. But in the chaos, she got taken away. We assumed by her bodyguards. We've been doing a bit of sniffing around. Turns out those bodyguards of hers weren't quite her own bodyguards. Agents of another person.
You hear his sharp intake of breath and the panic on his face. What does this mean?
We're finding that out right now.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ushime. I've thrown you into this, in the middle of something. I don't know what I've gotten you into.
You've already done so much for me. Just still your mind on this.
I'm so worried.
I will not look a gift horse in the mouth. I guess that wouldn't be a saying here. I won't look a gift Blazrog in the mouth. That's what he'd say.
And you're okay. At least I can
I'm well.
rest. I can rest easy on that. I'm glad you made it out. I've seen the pictures. Oh, such horrible destruction. Who did? Oh, never mind. You don't know. I just don't. And you can see he's like really puzzled and. And then you can see kind of like the look on his face kind of changes and he becomes even more somber, if that's even a thing. Ushime, you should know. The Seps are... Well, the tensions are rising. Even more so now than when you left.
It's hard to even tell that here, in this place. This moon of Thorkestra, it's nothing like I've ever seen. There's no law and order here.
That surprises me. I don't understand what's going on. I know talks between the Alzarine and the Grimoire are getting heated. They blame each other.
As they should. But one of them is the culprit.
Maybe. But no one has heard from Sept Wyloth.
Perhaps he's the insidious one.
Yes. And you would know from the name Sept Wyloth is the Sept that it's kind of not underhanded, like very much less powerful Sept. But they basically rule the moon graph or grave, however you pronounce it.
Perhaps he knows something about this. But for
Every-
him, even for Wyloff to have secured such a weapon like that, it surprised all of us. No wonder the Seps are in disarray.
They're all at each other's throats, blaming each other. Some even try to blame us. Shun, can you believe that? Like, where would we have that kind of money?
The real question is, why would we use it on ourselves? What is there to be gained by committing genocide on a world, if it's our own people? Who has to gain from this?
That's the real question. Who does gain?
I know that Inua has been very tight-lipped about this all.
Well, they've lost everything.
But that's why I'm here, because she doesn't do a thing about this.
Do you blame her? Her
Her
entire...
people are dead.
Exactly.
The ones who are alive look up to her to do something about this.
Somebody killed her entire people. Destroyed the moon under her. You'd be a little bit afraid too, don't you think?
But you'd acknowledge it, wouldn't you? Acknowledge the threat?
Unless she's too afraid to do that. To start making waves, to point the fingers. Lest they kill the remaining of us. There's not... We're so vulnerable. Don't you see?
Whoever did this, I'm going to make them pay.
Ushime, that's dangerous talk.
That's why I'm here. It's why you brought me here. You know this. Don't fool yourself. You wanted to.
I promised you aid. Yes, I did. I thought you'd give up by now. I thought you'd come back. I misjudged your commitment.
With that, Ushimi ends the Whisperlink call. Just hangs up with those words. As if he's just been betrayed once more.
And puts her hand on Ushimi's shoulder and says, "We're in this with you. Might not seem like it, but we will
Ushimi
help."
tries to brush off your hand, pushing it away. He's staring out the window. You can tell just by the heat in this car now that he is just angry. Just almost like fuming. Literal smoke coming out of his ears, if this was a cartoon. You can see that his metal copper gauntlets, well, not quite copper, but with some weird alloy. It looks copperish. The little grooves in them that house behind glass, the green astra that flows and is stabilized by them. It's almost like steaming out with heat as the astra is like becoming more and more heightened and more aware and more agitated by his emotions. I apologize for my secrecy on this, but that, my friends, is why I've hired you. We're gonna find the bastard who did this to me. I'm gonna kill them. An eye for an eye, blood for blood. The oldest story in every single book. Revenge. And Void Shatter knew something about this. Or at least, that's what my former friend liked to say. Perhaps I now think this is perhaps a goose chase he sent me on. I'm sorry to have wasted your time.
It's not a waste of time if we can figure out the answer.
Now I question myself. Is Voyage Shatter even a positive lead for me? Or is it just some dead-end trail? You heard it. He told me that he was trying to make me cool off. That I forget all this. Get lost in the city of the orchestra. What a bastard.
Indeed.
Well, we could get rid of the problem for you after this is all done.
What, you plan on having Verloren reoperate where it once was?
No,
like to
I'm
see
talking
that.
about your so-called friend who betrayed you.
Ushime looks appalled at your connotation. Just like, you've... No. What? No.
And bad. Bad. Bad.
I'm just throwing it out there. If he needs a problem removed.
We all know. We'll ask if we need it. Bad.
Weiss will just say, well, now that I know that you just hand out assassinations, I'll definitely keep your services in mind.
Weiss, no.
Never said they were cheap, but
So, you don't care about Void Shatter anymore, or you do? I just need to know where we're going with this.
I'm a bit confused on the matter.
Well, my friend will be able to certainly tell us if she is still being held somewhere in the city. It's close by. If not, well,
I can't shake that it's still the right way to go. I've had these dreams, you see, of those symbols, those sigils that we found upon those fleshy bits. I've seen them before. I couldn't place them before, but in this moment of alacrity, I guess, I've put the pieces together.
you don't say.
Perhaps a bit of clairvoyance this Astra has given me.
Funny business, this Astra. Well,
Let us continue on this then. He says, like, exasperated, as if like throwing his hands up, you know. What else is there to do? Maybe it will lead somewhere.
and Weiss shrugs and just says, my time has already been bought. I am at your disposal.
How long did your contact say he'd take to analyze those fleshy bits?
Well, he said 24 hours, and it has been 1 hour, DM, GM.
Well, you see, my monologue was another hour, so you add another one there. No.
So, oh, 24 hours, and at this point, 23. So any other lead, perhaps the one given to us by Mr. Rawld, it
Yeah.
might be worth pursuing in the meantime.
We'll have to do this in the meantime. I guess that is my own lead that I've made, that I've forged, without that bastard's help. Perhaps Rold will know something about that weapon of mass destruction used on my people.
Weiss kind of smiles behind the mask.
That is the information that I sought from him. You know, considering all things, I'm glad that we have this vehicle from him too.
Well, I certainly hope, for your sake, that Mr. Rawld is as kind after a job done as he is before.
Well, he's honor-bound to be so.
Yes, of course.
Is that not the way here?
I don't know. I was born out in the void.
My people, our words are binding. That is why the silence of our sept is so disheartening.
Oh dear.
Are we at the kid's house yet? Because it's now being an awkward silence.
Are we there yet? Yeah. How about now?
Yeah, Jynx has continued to drive while Ushime had his whisper link and the ensuing tirade. And I think at that point, Jynx, you pull up to the house that is listed for the address that you were given on the data pad. And it, while still opulent and there's much room, it is of a smaller size than some of the other houses that you've seen and passed, but still larger than anything that you have personally lived in. Like, this is a nice house in a very nice neighborhood, and there is probably lots of valuable things inside. And I think we are going to stop there for this session and continue on at the house next time.
As we pull up and Jynx looks over and kind of starts looking to case it, she's just gonna go, stingy bastard, 25 glint.
Perfect. All right, thank you everyone. Thank you for anyone who's joined us tonight or in the future. This has been episode 3 of the Harbinger, the Awakening. So we'll be back in 2 weeks to have episode 4. So thank you everyone.